People have stuff to say about it if a woman's being too emotional or anything.
You're listening to Perimenopausal Conversations for Busy Women. Real-life conversations navigating midlife, wellness, and hormones right alongside you.
Okay, let's discuss something that I feel like a lot of women our age are pondering. When we have mood swings, is it hormones or is that just daily life?
So I personally have wondered about this, and not necessarily because my mood swings are out of control, but I have noticed that my instinct to be moody is more prevalent, if that makes sense.
Tell me more.
Yeah, so like something will happen or, my husband will do something and I will feel like I want to react. And then I realize I've never reacted to this before, so why would I react now? And stupid stuff like he chews loud, like it's not anything important, but it like makes me have a visceral reaction. And then I'm like, what is going on? Because I'm in my mind a lot. I think part of it is because I consume so much information about this. I'm like, is this perimenopause? Or is there something else going on? Is it hormones? Is it just the amount of stress? What's going on? And so, yeah, I'm not necessarily reacting, but I notice that if I just reacted with my instincts, I probably would react. Stop chewing so loud, Something like that. Yeah.
So I don't feel like my mood swings drastically any more so than it ever has prior to getting my period. Like I feel like 3 to 4 days beforehand, I am just extra edgy. Like I think my family probably knows that if I'm acting that way, I'm probably in the middle of this hormone cycle or whatever. And it lasts for, 24, 48 hours. And then I feel like I get my period and I'm good after that. I don't feel like the frequency has increased. I don't necessarily feel like the extremeness of the mood swings has changed or increased. What I do feel like has potentially changed is I feel a little bit more sensitive or emotional about things that I wouldn't necessarily feel that way about, things that almost make me want to cry, like that type of sensitivity versus rage. I feel like, the anger part still just fluctuates beforehand, but luckily in general, I don't feel like I'm an angry person, so that's good. But I feel like I could cry more frequently at certain things, which just feels like that's not always appropriate either.
Yeah. No, I can see that because I've always been an emotional person from a crying standpoint, and I am a little bit more sensitive now. So yeah, no, that makes sense. I did a little research on this because I wondered if it was just because our estrogen levels are going down, because that's a lot of stuff that happens in perimenopause is because the amount of estrogen that we're producing is going down. And from what I found and just reading a few different PubMed studies even, is it's not even necessarily the estrogen going down, it's just the fluctuation of the hormones overall. And so it ends up making us more vulnerable to mood changes. And so whether it's the rage or it's the crying or it's just like the heartfelt, like, oh, this feels good, and now I'm sobbing, what's going on? Like all of that is more so just as hormones fluctuating constantly. And yeah, it can make us more, like I said, irritable, emotionally reactive, ragey, tearful, all of that. Which, how fun is that?
So the hard part about that is that I also just generally feel like I am too busy right now. I feel like I have too much on my plate, and I've had too much on my plate for a very long time, and it's very hard to know what to get off. I think we've talked about this recently with you struggling with what is your priority for this week. And so if I am overwhelmed and then I have this fluctuation going on, I don't know that it's hormones versus life. I think it's a combination of both, and the mixture of those two together just makes it a little bit more noticeable or severe or whatever. I will say that because I feel pretty self-aware of it, I can hopefully catch it before it gets out of hand. I feel like I roll balance on a lot more, the balance essential oil, than what I maybe do regularly. It was an oil that I highly used when my kids were toddlers. I used it a lot and it really, really helped. And I feel like I've kind of not used it for a while. And now I feel like I notice that I'm using it again. I use the adaptive supplement if I can catch myself, if I know that I'm going to be feeling overwhelmed or in a situation where it's going to be too much. I'll go ahead and take that adaptive capsule just to kind of keep me a little bit more in check. So at least I feel like I can kind of sense that it may happen soon, or I feel a little, on edge about this. Let me take care of it before it gets out of hand.
Yeah. Yeah. And so grateful for those tools. Some other things that we can do, and I feel like a lot of these you and I are both already doing, so I can't imagine how much more we would be feeling these mood swings if we weren't doing them. But one of them is blood sugar regulation. And so, like, eat real food, not eat a ton of sugar. I mean, we both like sweets, but we're not eating a ton of sugar. Just simple things like that, because there is hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal, so HPA axis, which really manages the way our body responds to stress. And when you regulate your blood sugar, that's one of the ways that keeps that communication more stabilized as well. And so that's a simple thing, moving our bodies. And so, like, just walking the dog helps. I know you go for walks while the kids are doing soccer practice and stuff like that. That's really helping us. Strength training is huge for this. In fact, there's tons of research on strength training helping women through this phase of life. I was really good at this. Now that I have a new dog that requires me to walk him for close to an hour a day, I'm kind of struggling to get in strength training workouts, but I'm getting back to that, or I have the intention of getting back to that. And just as little as 2 or 3 times a week, incorporating some type of strength training can be huge for this as well. And then just in general, like getting good sleep, which I feel like that's crazy hard to do, and maybe also contributing to the mood swings is not getting enough sleep. But doing what you can there can help as well.
Well, and it's kind of funny what you say about the blood sugar regulation, because I feel like in general, I eat less sugar for sure than what I used to. However, I would also say that my lifetime, I have been a stress eater or a reward eater. And so food has very much been part of my reward system when things go well, but also my fallback if something is not going well, right? Like give me some ice cream or something like that. But I definitely know that as I've aged, I have been able to manage that a little bit more responsibly. And so I feel like we don't eat out very often as a family, and I will have a craving for something out, and instead of actually acting on it, I'll just, come home and do the same thing I was going to do, which saves me money and hopefully helps my blood sugar regulation. But at the same time, I feel like I'm much better about managing it now than what I previously maybe would have.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think having the good habits in place, but also having community and support really helps with this as well. So I have a membership community for women in perimenopause and beyond that really is about community education on topics like this. And then each month we do a different type of challenge. So at the time of this recording, we are doing a challenge around blood sugar regulation, which is kind of interesting too. So we are focusing on dressing our carbs. And so a simple way to do this, and what this really means, is anytime you're eating carbs, pair with it either protein or a fat, and that will help you not have this blood sugar spike. So like instead of just eating an apple, have an apple with nut butter. And so you've got that protein and fat in there as well as the carb with the apple. And so if that's something that you, listener, want help with, this group, it's only $33 a month, and we would love to have you join. We rotate through different topics. So one month it will be nutrition, next month it will be movement, and then the third month will be around stress management. And every month we have some type of community challenge where we are trying to be more conscious and basically fit these little things into our lifestyle to help us easier navigate through this hard time in life. So we'll have the link in the show notes if you're interested in that. Okay, Heather, so anything else on moodiness?
My final thought, and I was thinking about this the other day when I was having a moment of vulnerability or whatever in the car. And this is maybe a bigger conversation, but just the idea of women in high power and how women have worked really, really hard to get into some upper level positions in life. And yet, they are still women and they still go through these hormonal changes or these bouts of life that are overwhelming. And when you're in a position of power like that, you have to work that much harder at managing it and making sure that you just seem even keel all the time, because otherwise it just, people have stuff to say about it if a woman's being too emotional or anything. So just to think about how women are managing hormone changes, managing life overwhelm, and then also the perception of how they're managing it. It's a lot as a woman.
It's a whole lot. And I think it's the perception, especially because we know that men also have mood swings.
Yes. And hormone changes.
And hormone changes. But I do think, men also have the same challenge, but unfortunately, women are the ones being watched for it. And for men, it's just a bad day. And that's unfortunate. But I think that's where also the more we can talk about it, the more we can normalize this time of life, but also the more we can have some healthy daily habits in place to help us navigate this, the easier it's going to be.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we hope that this episode gave you something to think about, made you realize that this is normal, but also gave you some tools to consider doing to make it a little bit easier for you. And we will have a brand new episode for you in 2 weeks.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This podcast is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease.